You've found the next chapter of The Iron Rebel, a military sci-fi saga of war, exile, and political deception. If that sounds like your kind of story, hit subscribe and give this video a like. It helps the story reach new rebels like you. Chapter 12. Forging a Rebellion. On the desolate surface of Eris Nexus, the alliance between Marcius, Kane, and Taran Dralith began to crystallize into a force that would challenge the might of the Confederation. What had started as a tenuous agreement born of necessity was now evolving into something far more potent, a rebellion fueled by shared grievances and the determination to reclaim power. The first weeks of Kane's rebellion on Eris Nexus were chaotic, a swirl of uncertainty and raw potential waiting to be molded. The colony's population, an uneasy amalgamation of miners, criminals, Zarath survivors, and disillusioned ex-soldiers, was fractious at best and volatile at worst. If the rebellion was to have any chance of succeeding, Kane needed to forge these disparate groups into a cohesive force capable of challenging the Confederation. However, the path to unity required more than discipline. It demanded trust, a rare commodity on Eris Nexus. Standing on a rusted platform in the colony's central yard, Kane addressed the crowd for the first time. The yard was a grim industrial expanse, surrounded by the makeshift shelters and crumbling buildings of the colony. The air was heavy with the acrid stench of machinery and despair, the distant hum of mining drills a constant reminder of the colony's purpose. The people who gathered before him were hardened by their circumstances. Skeptical eyes watched as Kane stepped forward, his sharp features illuminated by the dim floodlights overhead. His voice, however, cut through the din with the authority of a seasoned commander. "You've been cast aside," he began, his voice even but commanding. "Abandoned by a confederation that demanded your loyalty, your sacrifices, and your blood. They sent you here to be forgotten. But I say no more. Together, we can turn this place of exile into the birthplace of something greater." The murmurs of skepticism rippled through the crowd. Faces filled with suspicion and distrust stared back at him. Despite his commanding presence, Kane could feel the resistance, the weight of their disillusionment. It was then that Dralith stepped forward, his imposing figure cutting through the crowd like a ship's prow. The Zarath warlord's presence carried an undeniable weight, his reputation commanding respect even among those who hated him. His sharp gaze swept over the crowd before landing on Kane. Without preamble, Dralith spoke, his deep voice resonating with authority. "He speaks the truth," Dralith said, his words silencing the restless murmurs. "I've fought men like him, and I know what they're capable of. Marcius Kane is not a man who wastes words. If he says there's a way out of this pit, you'd do well to listen." The effect was immediate. While not all were swayed, the presence of Dralith standing alongside Kane was enough to hold their attention. In this moment, Kane realized the importance of the fragile partnership forming between them. Dralith's reputation as a leader among the Zarath survivors, coupled with his ability to command respect even from the colony's most hardened individuals, was the key to unlocking the hearts and minds of the people. Over the following days, Dralith and Kane worked together to foster a sense of unity among the fractured populace. Their methods were as different as their backgrounds. Kane instilled discipline through rigorous training and clear commands, while Dralith relied on his charisma and deeply ingrained respect within the community to rally support. Dralith's approach often involved stepping into heated disputes between factions, diffusing tensions with a mix of humor and intimidation. His ability to mediate conflicts ensured that Kane's message wasn't lost amid the chaos. "You don't have to like him," Dralith would say to skeptics, his sharp eyes narrowing. "But if you want to stop being the Confederation's discarded trash, you'd better start following him." At first, their partnership was fraught with tension. Dralith challenged Kane's approach openly, pointing out when his rigid military style alienated the colony's more independent-minded inhabitants. "You can't drill rebellion into them like soldiers, Kane," Dralith said during one heated exchange. "These people don't need a commander barking orders, they need a reason to fight." "And you think I don't know that?" Kane countered, his voice steely. "Discipline is what will keep them alive when the Confederation comes for us." Dralith's laughter was dry, laced with grudging respect. Fair enough. Just don't forget that survival starts with belief. Despite their differences, the two men found a rhythm, their strengths complementing each other. Dralith brought the people together, breaking through their apathy and distrust, while Kane provided the structure and vision necessary to turn their anger into action. Each success, no matter how small, further solidified their partnership. As the days turned to weeks, the colony began to change. What had once been a fractured community of desperate individuals began to coalesce into a fledgling rebellion. Miners, ex-soldiers and Zarath survivors worked side by side, their shared hardships forging bonds that had seemed impossible weeks before. Kane took full advantage of this growing unity, organizing training sessions and tactical exercises that transformed the colony's inhabitants into a disciplined force. With Dralith's help, he established a chain of command, appointing leaders from each faction to ensure every voice was represented. Dralith's influence was especially apparent in the recruitment of Zarath survivors. Many had been wary of following a Confederation general, but Dralith's endorsement carried weight. "He's not one of us," Dralith admitted during a private gathering of Zarath warriors.
"But he's not the man who exiled us here either. If we want to strike back, we need him."
Meanwhile, Kane's strategic brilliance began to shine. He used Dralith's connections to salvage and retrofit old Zarath ships, turning them into a makeshift fleet. Each vessel was a patchwork of scavenged parts and ingenuity, a testament to the rebellion's resourcefulness. "These ships won't win any beauty contests," Dralith quipped as he inspected one of the retrofitted vessels.
"But they'll do the job." Kane nodded, his gaze sharp as he surveyed the growing fleet.
"Function over form. The Confederation won't see us coming." With each passing day, the mutual respect between Kane and Dralith deepened. Their shared goal, to bring the Confederation to its knees, overshadowed their past enmity. While their partnership was still laced with occasional clashes, it was clear to both men that they were stronger together than apart. One evening, as the colony's makeshift campfires flickered against the darkness, Dralith approached Kane with an uncharacteristic seriousness. "You're turning them into something, Kane," he said, his voice low. "Something I didn't think was possible." Kane, sitting on a rusted crate and studying a hand-drawn map of the colony, looked up.
"And what about you? You're the one who got them to listen."
Dralith smirked, his scarred face softening slightly.
"Maybe.
But listening isn't enough. You gave them purpose. Now let's see if you can deliver." The fragile alliance, forged in mutual distrust and necessity, was transforming into something stronger. Together, Kane and Dralith were building not just an army, but a movement, one that would soon challenge the very foundation of the Confederation. This chapter of the Iron Rebel comes to a close, but the war is far from over. If the story spoke to you, leave a like. It fuels the rebellion. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. New episodes drop every week. Until next time, stay sharp, stay defiant.